Hi, everyone. My name is Angela. Today, I'm going to be talking about the 10 strategic points over that has been set forth or that is required by Grand Canyon University and probably other universities as well. 10 strategic points is basically going to be an outline for all of the other working documents that you have to complete in order to reach the dissertation writing phase. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give a brief breakdown as far as like how to construct and how to organize and write the 10 strategic points as to because a lot of doctoral learners, they come into the program and they're really unsure as far as how to write and construct and make sure that the 10 strategic points is in alignment. Based on the models or theories that they want to use for their research, for the purposes of their research. So to get started, what I'm going to do is I am going to share my screen with you guys. And what I've done is I've extracted the 10 strategic points from the DC network and I kind of just like condensed it and removed the instructions, cleaned it up a little bit. Therefore, it's more easier to follow. Okay, so to get started, first and foremost, Barbara, when it comes to the topic is primarily going to be a live element within the document itself. The topic that you create for the purposes of the research does not necessarily mean that it's the topic that's going to be used when you reach the final phases of your dissertation writing processes. So the topic is always going to change based on your continuation of reading, your continuation as far as finding gaps in reading other literature reviews and things like that, whatever to where attention teaching points, it's in one in itself will be a live working document that is going to constantly change from the time you started until the time you reach your dissertation phase and go through your final phase. Okay, got that? So, um, for the sake of this document, everything what the information that I'm going to implement in here is not is primarily generic, to where there has not been a gap found. But for the sake of this research, whatever is primarily to show you how things are structured and how things are supposed to be aligned when it comes to doing your literature reviews, your backgrounds, problem statement, purpose statement, research questions, and things of that nature. Okay, so what we're going to do for the topic, we're just going to create a generic topic. We're going to say, how technology usage influences um, personal relationships. We'll say how technology uses or the effects of technology on senior adults' personal well-being. Okay. Because it's not a quantitative study, we're going to use the word influence, difference. Okay. So the influences of technology on senior adults' personal well-being. Okay. Okay, now moving on to the literature review. The literature review means that you have read information based on how technology influences individuals' personal well-being. It does not necessarily mean that you have to solely focus on senior adults. You just want to understand how technology influence the well-being of all individuals. Reading those documents, whatever it means that going through them and looking at the implications, looking at the discussion, they may point out the fact that senior adults needs to be investigated further to show how technology influences their well-being. A lot of the information may come from researching information on how it influences young adults, to where researchers may say that older adults needs to be investigating more, and vice versa. If you read on senior adults, it may say that younger adults needs to be investigated more. Got okay. So based on the background, that's where your gap is going to come from. Your gap is going to come from the literature reviews that you read, based on the implications within the research, based on the suggestions for further research and things of that nature. That is where your gap is going to come from. If you read literatures and it says that there's limited research on this, or this has not been studied often, or something like, or something to that fact, that means that you have identified a gap within the research. It's not always going to give it to you verbatim to say that this needs to be done or future research needs to be done or something like that. You have to look for the keywords in reference to where the gap lies within the research. Okay. So for the gap, what we're going to say is I've read a document on younger generations, and they suggested that older adults need to be further investigated to show how technology influences their personal well-being. So we're going to say Miriam et al. 2020 suggested that senior adults okay. So Miriam suggests that senior adults warrants further investigation to show how technology influences their personal well-being. Okay. Okay, so we're going to add the usage term here. Okay. Okay, moving forward is say, okay, we've established our gap. What we want to do is look at the keywords within the text to see where we should um, find our theoretical framework. In looking at this, whatever, what I can do is I can find a theme that is based on technology usage, or I can find a theme that is based on personal well-being. If I go into my Internet Explorer, if I type in, it could be like the technology acceptance model. I can use this model if I wanted to. Okay, so what you'll do is you'll type in your keywords, and then you'll click on images. Under images is going to bring up various themes or theoretical frameworks that is associated with the term that you use. And you can scan through here and look at the various options, whatever, and choose whatever fits your needs or choose whatever interests you. So for this one here, if I wanted to understand how technology is senior adults or technology influences the perceive influences the well-being of individuals, whatever. If I don't want to focus on the personal well-being aspect of it, whatever, I can use the technology acceptance model to show how their willingness and acceptability of technologies, to where I can use to perceive the usefulness, to perceive ease of use, their attitudes towards it, to where it'll show whether they have a negative or positive attitude towards that, of which it'll lead to their intentional use and their actual usage, their adoptability and their adaptability of technologies. Okay, but for the purposes of this, whatever, I want to focus on the well-being aspect of it. So I am going to use the well-being theory. Okay, so here we have a well-being theory here by Martin Seligman. And then what I'm going to do with this is I am going to bring over the visual of what the well-being theory is comprised of. I will use this one because if I look at if I because I and eventually I am going to have to define these terms in reference to the model that has been set in place here already. It gives you the definition. It gives you a brief definitions as far as like what each element within the model entails. So that'll be beneficial. And this is something that can be cited as well. Visuals within your 10 strategic points or even in your perspectives is good. Doesn't necessarily have to be like all text. Visuals are good because it gives the readers or your person that is instructors a view, an overview as far as say what are you actually doing, what is going to be the sole purpose of your research. Okay, so based on the various themes, so based on the literature review, this theme right here is what's going to drive your research. Okay, so based on here is you have various key elements in here that you can pull from. What do you want to focus on when it comes to well-being? Or what do you want to focus on when it comes to personal well-being for the purposes of this research? Because I'm going to be focused on well-being, which is going to be the context, not the purpose of the research, I am just going to put in personal well-being as my first theme. The second theme I'm going to use is positive emotions. What does positive emotions mean? Positive emotions means feeling good. Or the second thing, and another thing, you do not have to use every single element in here. You can use maybe at least two, 3, 4, 5, however many you want to use, but you don't have to use every single one of them. I am going to use positive emotions and I am going to use relationships. Okay, so here it is. For the purposes of the literature review, I am going to have 4 themes that I'm going to be focused on solely. This is going to be the context of the research. This here is going to be the first theme, and this here is going to be the second theme. Okay. Okay. So because and moving on to the problem statement. The problem statement is we're going to make sure that, and this is where the alignment comes into play. Okay. So because this is a qualitative investigation, we're going to start off with the terms. It is not known. How? How what? How senior adults describe technology usage on personal well-being, positive emotions, and relationships. See where I'm going with this? Personal well-being, your theme, alignment, positive emotions, alignment, relationships, alignment. This is your first phase of having your research aligned. Okay? Personal well-being, the context of the research. Okay? Positive emotions, context of the themes of the research, relationships. Everything is aligned. Your theory is aligned with your theoretical foundation is aligned with your literature review themes and and also your problem statement. So all 3 of these elements here are aligned. We're not going to focus on the sample in the location. Sample in the location is you have to use that as your discretion. Who's going to be part of your sample? We already established that your sample selection is going to be senior adults based on the location. we'll that for the purpose of this research, it's going to be individuals that's in the United States. So that is going to be something that you have to um, categorize and fill in the blanks for that. Okay, so another aspect of it being of making sure that your research is aligned. Research questions. Okay, we have three key themes here. So that means that we're going to have three research questions. So we have research question 1, research question 2, and research question 3. Research question 1, because it is a qualitative investigation, again, we're going to ask the question, how do? Based on the information, how do what? How do senior adults describe technology usage on personal well-being? So what we're going to do, we're going to break these themes down into 3 questions. So we have the first one as being well-being, the context of your investigation. Question number 2, how do senior adults describe technology use on? Because we already have personal well-being, we're going to take that one out, and we're only going to solely focus on positive emotions here. Take out relationships. For question 3, we're going to ask the question, how do senior adults describe technology usage on? We already have positive personal well-being, positive emotions. So now we're only going to focus on relationships. So these are your 3 research questions. Got it? So how do senior adults describe technology usage on personal well-being, which is based on your themes here? Personal well-being inside of your problem statement, personal well-being inside of your literature review themes, personal well-being inside of your, which is going to be the context of the actual theoretical foundation. It's the personal well-being theory. Even though it says well-being, you can do personal well-being, subjective well-being, eudaimonia well-being, hedonic well-being, whatever the case may be. But it's the purposes of this is to show you where the alignment comes into play. Okay, phenomenon. Phenomenon we're not really going to touch on. Phenomenon does not have to be aligned with the research questions, the problem statement, purpose statement, and things of that nature. Phenomena is basically you telling the reader or telling the person that is monitoring your investigation to let you know that this study is doable or is workable. Is you telling them how has this phenomenon of how has your phenomena of interest sparked the concern in society as a whole or partially. So this is something that that's coming from you. Okay. Methodology. Methodology is going to be very straightforward. For the methodology, we are going to be using qualitative, qualitative methodology. And for our design, we are going to be using descriptive design. Descriptive design does not necessarily mean, the design does not necessarily mean that you have to use a descriptive design. You can use case studies, you can use narratives, you can use phenomenological. You cannot use ground theory, even though it's an approved design by GCU, because here we're not trying to create a new model or a theory. We want to make sure that our research is grounded in an existing and validated theory that has already been done. Okay, this is where all the alignment comes into play as well. Okay, so we have established this. Now, when you get down to the purpose statement, this is where everything comes into play. We are going to bring in, we're going to tell readers why we're doing this study. We're going to tell them which the methodology, which design, what our key themes is, our theoretical foundation, where the study is going to be conducted, okay? So the wording for this is going to go something like this. The purpose of this methodology, qualitative, design, descriptive study is to do what? We want to explore. We don't want to describe. We already have the description aspect in here. So what we want to do is explore. We want to explore how. So I'll just paste the information from the problem statement. Okay, same thing. It's going to be more so copy and paste. The purpose of this qualitative descriptive study is to explore how senior adults describe technology usage on personal well-being. Here it is. We're bringing in your themes, positive emotions, themes, relationships, themes, and relationships. Additional, what you're going to do is implement your location. Where is your study going to take place? In the United States. These are all of your alignment aspects that needs to be done within your research. You have to determine which theme that you want to use, which theoretical foundation you want to use. Inside that theoretical foundation is where you're going to pull your themes from for your literature review. These themes are going to filter down into all of the other various areas in your research. These themes are going to filter down. These themes are going to filter down into your problem statement. It's going to filter down into your research questions, your method, not your methodology, but in your purpose statement. All of those has to be aligned in order for you to have a workable 10 strategic points in a workable study. But in order to determine which theoretical foundation you have to, that you're going to use, you have to find your gap within the research first to say, what do they suggest? Okay, if mine want to understand the well-being of senior adults, I'm going to use the well-being theory. If mine wants to understand how senior adults accepts technology, I can use the technology acceptance model, and I can base it off of the various themes that is implemented within that framework. Okay, so this is basically the alignment. Again, I'm going to show you. We already established our gap. Here's our gap. We're focusing it on well-being. It can be self-efficacy. It can be cognitive abilities, or whatever the case may be. Self-efficacy, yes, there is a self-efficacy theory that could be used. But for the sake of this research here, we're going to focus on personal well-being. Personal well-being, we're using our well-being theory by Martin Seligman. Well, from the elements within the personal well-being theory, we have extracted positive emotions, feeling good, relationships, which is based on authentic connections. We have brought those down into our literature review for our themes. For the purpose statement, we have also brought those key elements down into our problem statement to give readers to understand of what is the problem. It is not known how senior adults describe technology usage on personal well-being, positive emotions, and relationships. This is your problem. This is the focus of your problem. This is what you're going to address within your research. For the research questions, these are the answers that you're going to try to, these are the questions that you're going to try to answer within your research. We want to answer, how do they describe personal well-being when it comes to technology use? How do they describe positive emotions when it comes to technology usage? We also want to understand how senior adults describe relationships when it comes to technology usage. Okay, we came into, we understand that we're using a methodology which is going to be qualitative, and a design is going to be descriptive. Okay, bringing everything into ties. the purpose of your research. When you reach your perspectives class, this is the first thing that they're going to ask you. This is the first thing, because they have moved over into a new PowerPoint presentation aspect that has to be defended. And a lot of this information is going to transfer over from this document over into the new document. So you want to tell them why you're doing your research. The purpose of this qualitative descriptive study is to explore how seniors describe technology usage on personal well-being, positive emotions, and relationships in the United States. United States has to be in there. Where you are doing your study has to be embedded within this phrase. Got it? Okay. Okay, so this concludes the 10 strategic points. What I'm going to do next is, for the next video, I am going to go over the qualitative I'm going to go to the qualitative approach for the perspective slides for the PowerPoint, the new phase, the new feature, or the new design that GCU has set into place that they're leaning towards doing. So stay tuned, or wait for the next video, or watch the next video if you are in the perspectives phase, whatever, to make sure that everything is aligned again, and to make sure that everything is doable. I'm going to go through each slide individual, whatever, to show you what a PowerPoint present, or to show you what the PowerPoint presentation is, and that'll make it easier for you to defend. Okay, you guys stay tuned. Thank you for watching.